Highlights coming in hot. Kansas Jayhawks taking on the Samford Bulldogs in the first round of the NCAA Tournament in Lawrence, Kansas. The ladies representing with the symbolic KU Volleyball dance moves that I myself am still trying to learn. We started out here in set one with a Madison Rigdon ace that is, for lack of a better word, unbelievable and unreturnable. Now up to the next point, it's the freshman Jada Burst showing off her vertical and her ability to swing over the block. And speaking of block, Burst and Taylor Susie combined for the rejection. Susie doing a wonderful job of stretching to close up the split. She posts 4 blocks on the night, and Kelsey Payne adds 2. Samford setter Erica Pfeiffer opts for the quick back set, looking to stun the middle blocker. It works, but not on Jada Burst, who lays down an impressive one. On the flip side, Burst added 14 kills against Samford, her best outing this season. Cassie Waite sets up the pass, and this plays a little something I like to call a back X. Kayla Cheadle's motion draws the block perfectly, and Rigdon sneaks her on front to lay down a solid swing in a one-on-one matchup. Set point brings us to the third. Havili shoots it outside here to Jada Burst, who gets so much air it actually looks like she jumped off of something. Miscommunication seals the deal. Point KU. Kate Niesler here serving for the Bulldogs, and speaking of, she had a game herself with 15 kills. This time it's the freshman Zoe Hill on the swing. Kill brought to you by way of a double quick featuring the Kelsey Payne. And that, my friends, is all she wrote. KU dashes Samford in 3 and will move on to face the Blue Jays of Creighton Friday evening at 6:30 in Forge Family Athletic Center.
It was 2.5 hours, and it was just like you had like pulling teeth to score a point. Both teams were defensively, and you felt like you were at the dentist for a couple hours. But that was before Jada Burst. Rigdon, I think, had a huge match. But we'll be a little bit more balanced, but they are much improved also. So I think it'll be a great match.
Welcome into the Playmakers volleyball pregame show. I'm Kevin Gray alongside Nicole Feyh. So they won last night, the Jayhawks did, and tonight they're going to take on the Creighton Blue Jays. So tell us a little bit about what they bring to the table.
What Creighton brings to the table. Of course, they played Creighton earlier in the year. I believe it was actually in September. That match wasn't really much of a spectacular performance offensively, but if you look at the defensive numbers, it was really a battle between those two teams and just how well they could counter each other's attacks. After that game,
Creighton was able to go on a 21-game match streak that is still active. They're 27-6 overall, but they're not really that great in 5-set matches. Last night was a 5-set match for the Blue Jays. They did pull it out, but they're only 2-3, unlike Kansas, who is undefeated on the season.
Oh, definitely. And so the rematch of that 5-setter that was won actually when they played Kansas back in September, it went to 5 games as well. And I mean, one of the things that I really noticed through that game was the fact that neither team hit over 300. And if you want to go back and look at the stats, you can even make an argument for anything spectacularly over 250 or 275. I mean, both teams just simply battled it out on the net, and it was just a straight battle of who could make the other make an error first.
Right, and both teams have really great liberos, and outside of the liberos, they have people who can make digs all over the place. Obviously, Cassie Waite for Kansas, but the Blue Jays have a ton of people who can make digs. So who are the biggest threats for Kansas on this Creighton team?
Well, if you want to talk about defensively, I believe it's probably Brittany Witt for Creighton. She is their dig master, much like Cassie Waite is as the libero for Kansas. Brittany Witt is going to get just about everything up that you send her way. And she has that remarkable reaction time just like Cassie Waite does. On the flip side, offensively, you want to talk about a power hitter. That's got to be Jaylee Winters, right?
Winters is phenomenal.
That girl had a game last night. I believe it were 24 kills.
24 kills, 12 digs.
Yeah, so she recorded double-double. I believe that's actually might be her 10th of the season.
It's more than that. In fact, she has 10 just against the top 75 RPI. So in 17 games against the RPI top 75 teams in the country, she has 10 double-doubles, which is more than a 50% clip. She is a stud. She can dig the ball, like we said earlier, and obviously she's a huge killer. She almost will negate Kelsey Payne on the outside.
Yeah, definitely. That will be one of the matchups that I'm sure that Coach Bouchard's going to have to plan for, just like Aaron Bognar for Samford, which he had to plan to put Kelsey Payne in the front row at a point where she would match up with Bognar. And he's going to have to do that with Jaylee Winters. Now on the opposite side, you have Marissa Wilkinson, and those two are probably one of the best attacking tandems that I've quite possibly seen. They both have the ability to be the rock star hitter, the one that goes up and gets the kills, but at the same time, they make it impossible for teams to camp out on a hitter, to be able to keep it predictable. They keep their game two-dimensional and keep defenses having to play true to the threat they are.
And what really jumps out to me about Marissa Wilkinson, she has a .340 hit percentage. So when she gets those opportunities, she doesn't have as many opportunities as her teammate, but she has about 100 fewer kills on the season. But when she gets those opportunities, she makes the most out of it, and she really doesn't miss.
Definitely. And that also can be looked at as the fact that Jaylee Winter swings on the outside, which is more of an outlet for most setters. If anything happens to where the ball gets up, it's a bad pass, it's out of system, the setter usually will swing it out to the outside. So she naturally is going to have more attempts. It's what you do with the attempts, like you were saying with Marissa Wilkinson, that really, really adds onto her stock as a player. And
it's really hard. We talk a lot about Kelsey Payne, game planning for her, and then Madison Rigdon coming in. Creighton has the same thing with those two players, so it's going to be really hard for the Jayhawks to come in and game plan for them, which brings me to our 5-point breakdown. We're going to go in and break down each aspect of the game. So let's start off with the front line. Nicole, who do you think has the advantage?
The advantage, I am actually going to have to give this to KU. I believe, with the tandem of Rigdon and Payne in the front row, and then again on that next rotation, say you put Zoe Hill in at middle in this game, and then you also have Jada Burst. I mean, you've got that youth, but you also have that power, and those girls have really learned throughout this season that they need to be able to do their job and do their job efficiently. So in the overall rotation of hitters, based on both teams, I like what I see with Kansas and how they are just a lot more well-rounded in their attack and the way they can put the ball down than Creighton.
I'm going to disagree with you. I think Creighton has the advantage. Obviously, Kelsey Payne is a monster. But like we said earlier, Jaylee Winters kind of negates her. They're going to be pretty equal on the day. And then you look farther, and Creighton has much more experience. KU has freshmen who are going to be starting. And Kayla Cheadle's not a freshman. She's a sophomore, but she doesn't have a ton of experience. Mm-hmm. Zoe Hill is a freshman, and Jada Burst is a freshman. Creighton has seniors on that who have been in the tournament before and know what it takes to win. So I'm going to go with Creighton on that one. Moving forward, the back line. Nicole?
I see, and this is what I like to call the Cassie Wade effect. To me, I don't think that I would give this advantage as well to KU and the fact that they have Patricia Montero on the back line as well. She posts up solid dig numbers every match, and she's consistent. She's what they need in a defensive specialist opposite Cassie Wade. And I love Cassie Wade, of course. How can you not? Cassie Wade is just probably one of the best liberos in the country right now. I like those two, and I also like the fact that you can throw Tori Miller in there, or you can throw Addison Berry in there. Either of those girls, they have these solid options, and Coach Bouchard has talked about it a lot, to where if somebody isn't getting the job done correctly, he has full confidence that he can throw any one of those bench players in, and they will get the job done.
Yeah, I agree. You can't see a team with a Cassie Wade on it and then Patricia Montero serve and say they don't have the advantage in the back line. So let's go to passing this time. KU has an All-American setter and the Big 12 setter of the year. Does that give the Jayhawks the advantage?
Of course. Anise Havili, we've been talking about this and how hard that girl is going to be to replace. She's elite in her position. There is absolutely nothing, for me, no argument you could make that would say that she is not elite in her position. So should KU get that passing on point and be able to really do a little bit better than they did against Samford, they will be able to get their attacks. It all starts with that pass, okay? And getting that on point, getting to the point where they don't have to move Anise Havili around a lot, and getting the sets in the area that she wants, pushing it out if you want to hit something line, or pushing it in short if you want to run a hut on the outside and hit something cross shot right on the 10-foot line. I think that passing will be one of the biggest keys. I believe that I have to give it to KU just because when I watched Creighton play UNI last night, they had a lot of issues, especially on serve receive, with their passing.
I agree, and again, it goes back to Anise Havili. She's so good at what she does. She has the vision to set up the passes for her attackers, and the numbers speak for themselves. She is a 2-time All-American. She's the setter of the year in the Big 12. Passing goes to KU. So you mentioned service earlier. Who has the advantage in that area?
For me, this is where I'm going to have to side with Creighton, and this is because the outlook that I have on serving has always been one of consistency. you have a player like Madison Rigdon or Patricia Montero and Anise Havili who have these top-notch serves that generate aces. But the way that I look at it is it's high risk, high reward. You see Madison Rigdon have a lot of service errors. And I mean, she'll get those big service aces, and that creates a lot of good momentum going into it. But what happens when you have those errors is it cuts that momentum short. You lose a point, and you lose the ball. And so I like the consistency that Creighton displayed last night, especially against UNI on their serves.
I'm going to disagree with you just because KU led the Big 12 in aces. Madison Rigdon herself led the Big 12 in aces. And like you said, that brings a lot of momentum. Sure, it's high risk, high reward, but when they get that high reward, I think it gives them more momentum than when they lose it on the service errors.
Sure,
so finally, coaching. Ray Bouchard has been there forever. Does he have the advantage?
Oh, yeah. For me, oh, yeah, definitely. The things that Coach Bouchard has been able to do with this program is 100% unprecedented. He's taken this program to places that they, 5 years ago, might not have ever dreamed they could. This is the highest ranking in NCAA tournament. They took the Big 12 outright. They beat Texas, and they went to the NCAA tournament last year. This marks 5 straight years they've been in that tournament under Coach Bouchard. He's the 2-time Big 12 Coach of the Year. You can't, in my opinion, you just can't ask for a better coach than that man. And the way that those girls look to him for advice and the way that he responds to them, it's a harmony. It's wonderful.
I agree. Absolutely, Ray Bouchard. You look at him, the way he coaches, he's coached them so well in practice that he just has to say one quick thing here and there, and they know what they need to do. But that's going to wrap it up for us here on the Playmakers preview show for volleyball. As soon as we get our game picks in, so Nicole, who do you think is going to win tonight?
I'm going to go with KU, but I'm going to go with KU in a 5-set match. Creighton is not going to go down without a fight, and I believe that KU knows this. Hopefully they will be able to turn it into more of an offensive matchup, an offensive shootout than what it was the first time they met this season. But it's not going to be easy, and you know that KU knows that as well. I'm still taking KU, though.
I think KU in 4, the home crowd is really going to help them. That band is going to be loud. The crowd is going to be energetic. So I'm going to take Kansas in 4. That will be our wrap here on our pregame preview show for the volleyball tournament. Thanks for stopping in. Make sure you follow us at Playmakers KU on Twitter and Instagram.